Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. All right, welcome everybody to this episode of Cliff's Notes. I want you to reach down, grab your phone, and put it on airplane mode right now. You are not going to want to be distracted at all during this amazing show that we've got. We've got somebody that you're gonna meet who's just going to lay it down, unpack the secrets of going from I believe it was $3 million in 2012 to $75 million in sales for 2019. So I am super excited and super stoked to introduce you to my good friend Joe Symonette. And Joe, stand by just for a second. You're up there in Olympia, Washington. Can't wait to talk to you. Before we go cut away to you, I also want to introduce my co-host today. This is Cliff Freeman III, affectionately known as C3. And super excited to have you, my friend. Here, give me 5. You can do that. There you go.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me.
And hey, don't forget, you may have caught my Facebook Live a little bit ahead of the show, and we had a quick chat with Travis. And Travis, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself, Cliff?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. You know how that goes, I'm telling you. But this is absolutely a thrill today. And how was your weekend? We were talking basketball earlier, and you said you were a Raptors fan, Travis?
You know what? I'm not a Raptors fan. I'm just more so a Golden State hater. I'm not going to lie to you, Cliff.
Okay, all right. So it's that haters going to hate thing, right? We know about Golden State.
There we go.
All right, okay. Well, listen, I know that everybody watching today is excited to go in. We're going to go ahead and just jump right in and deliver a truckload of value for you here with Joe. Joe Symonette, Olympia, Washington. I want to welcome you to the show, my friend.
Thank you guys for having me. How's it going?
Absolutely. Well, it's going great. It's going really good now that you're here because I know that we've got some really interesting nuggets that we're going to drop on our audience today. I mean, you have done an amazing job, Joe, an incredible job of growing your business from, let's see, you and I started working together in 2012. So that was how many years ago was that? 7 years ago, I think. Yeah. About 7 years ago. And at that time, you were doing about $3 million a year, and just hungry and man, I remember meeting you, and I thought, man, this guy's he's got that fire in the belly. He's got the desire, the drive, and I said, we can teach him the real estate part that he needs to know to figure this out. But he's got to show up with that requisite, that passion, that big why, that desire. And man, you showed up and you just crushed it ever since. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to let the audience in on some of your secrets today. So if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and dive in. And I think the first thing, Joe, that we need to start with is let's do a real quick, tell us a little background about you and your team right now. I know the audience would like to get to know you personally. Give us just a little bit about the man himself, Joe Symonette.
So, we're up here in Olympia, Washington, and so that's our main primary market up here. I have 6 amazing agents that are part of my team, and two staff members that support us on the back end. So we're not really a huge team. We just have a great talent pool of people, and so that's how we're set up here in Olympia, Washington. Our market is kind of diverse because we have a military base about 15 minutes north of us. We're in the capital of us, so workers, then you have military clientele, and then if you go further north, obviously Seattle's about an hour. Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing don't really have to say too much more about that, but so that's kind of our team makeup and just kind of our market demographic.
Wow, well, that's awesome. And I had the pleasure of meeting some of your team in Orlando. We were at Shareholders last week in Orlando, Florida, and I got to say, and you, Cliff C3, you met Garrett and the gang, and I'm telling you, you have really done a great job. You're a good people picker, Joe. You've done a great job of identifying people with the talent that you can help them grow through, the coaching that you do. I mean, you've been coaching for so long. Now the shoe's on the other foot, right? So now your role is a leader and as a coach, and we're going to talk about that because I know that what you're doing on a daily basis has changed since you and I were beginning to work together in 2012 and today. And so I want to ask you, I happen to have I snuck this out of the archive here, out of the vault, but this is a copy. I asked you one day early on, I don't know if you can see this, but does that remind you of anything? That's your perfect day, your calendar back in 2012. And if we look at that, if you would, it's hard to see on screen, but just tell us, what was it like for you doing $3 million in production? As I recall, at that time, you didn't have any team members. Just walk us through what it was like for you for your perfect day. Tell the agents out there who are listening that are at that level what an NFL player like you are, what kind of a routine and a daily schedule regimen you would maintain. What kind of rhythm did you have?
I mean, it really starts about, getting up early on that one. That was like 5 a.m. and just really having everything that's a priority scheduled from, getting in the gym, getting in there early so you have, the right mindset, the right attitude in the office to make those calls. So, I mean, it was really, it's different now, obviously, because it's kind of a different structure, but as a solo agent, it was just figure out the daily rhythm was, for the business at that time. So, and that's something obviously me kind of come up with through the coaching.
All right, so let's be specific here. So you would get up at 5 in the morning, and you would hit the gym, then you would come back, eat breakfast. What was the first business matter that you took care of first thing in the morning?
So first thing in the morning, it's probably similar agents. I mean, it's all about the prospecting, so expired, those canceled, I mean, those are the hanging fruit in our market. So, I mean, really, if you're trying to build a listing business, that's what you need to focus on. In our MLS, it's pretty simple because we can pull it up and we can see what's expired, what's withdrawn. So, I mean, those are the biggest opportunities. Then typically after that, then it's going to be for sale by owners I would focus on.
Okay. All right. So everybody in the audience, get out a pen and write this down. This is gold. The first thing you start out with in the morning is not checking your emails, not listening to voicemails from the night before. It's prospecting. It's getting on the phone and prospecting. And Joe, you were prospecting sellers. About how many hours a week back in 2012 were you prospecting?
That was the beginning of kind of the ramp up period. But I mean, back then, anywhere from 1 to 3 a day because you had way more time, right? If you're a newer solo agent that doesn't have an established business, time. And so what I always tell my team members is, that needs to be, if you don't get anything else done, and that needs to be the priority is making sure that you're prospecting every day because that's going to keep your pipeline full.
All right. So I want to throw out a term here that I know you're familiar with, but the audience may not be, and that's non-negotiable. So when you got started, I mean, obviously, when you have a calendar, things come up and you move, but there are certain things that you do not fail to do every day. One is take a bath, hopefully. You brush your teeth, right? You eat. You have to eat. Amen? Right?
Absolutely.
All right. So
absolutely.
When you were starting, what did you make non-negotiable about your calendar?
So really that is the non-negotiable, was the prospecting and the follow-up. Those are the two things that I've learned that, you need to have the daily plan to do those if you want to be a successful, very high producing agent. You
Okay.
know, I mean,
So that's all
really what.
Right. I think a term that we've used before is pig-headed discipline, right? And we've got that. We borrowed that from Chet Holmes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pig-headed
Yep.
discipline. That's what it takes. All right. So your calendar was full 5 days a week, and this didn't even include the weekends. How did you spend your weekends when you were building your business at that stage back in 2012?
At that stage, man, it was really, I mean, it was really a 7 day a week, I mean, it really, any opportunities at that point, you really had to, go after and really seize those opportunities and really, just operate with a sense of urgency, because I just see so much in this business, since they don't operate with that sense of urgency. They're just kind of like, oh, well, I'll return that later, that email or that text or that, where if you really want to be a top producer, you need to have that sense of urgency.
That's right. Yeah. We talk about this a lot, but the number one complaint that clients have with their real estate agents is what?
It's usually communication.
They don't return phone calls, right?
Yep.
So I used to joke. I would say, I can show you a way to eliminate 90% of your competition. You may want to write this down, audience. But the first thing, you can eliminate 40% of your competition if you'll just return phone calls, okay? Return phone calls, 40% of your competition, you'll blow them away. The second thing that you can do, and Joe, you're a testimony to this, is just frickin' work at least 40 hours a week, okay? Real estate is not a part-time job, it's full-time. Joe, you remember this, how many conversations we've had about agents who, they get the job, they get it for one of three reasons or all three reasons. They want their own business, they want to have, manage their own time, and they want the promise of untold wealth. And, some of them get the first two, but very few of them get the last one, which is the money part. And the reason why is because they just don't put the effort in. So you can eliminate 90% of your competition if you'll just do those two things, right? Return your phone calls and work. Exactly. All right. So nowadays, as I look at this, and you and I, we would have a call. Actually, we had a call, I guess, a couple of times a month back then. But you would work on these things here. So your appointments were in the afternoon, right? Now, let's talk about this, because you are a family man. You have a lovely wife. You got a couple of great kids. And not only that, you're still able. Your wife does Ironman competitions. You do what? What's your big event? Is it marathons or Ironman? What do you do, Joe?
Oh, so she kind of got me into that whole kind of lifestyle, and so I've been training for like the half marathons for the last year. We always do the one for here in the capital city half marathon. So just trying to stay active as we get older, and we have young kids, so you have that to really play with them and really enjoy them to the fullest.
Right, but my point here is that you've been able to maintain a balance, even though you work long hours and you work hard. Family is still a priority in your life, right? Because a lot of people would argue that real estate leads to divorce in a lot of families, and that's not your case at all. And I just want the audience to know that you don't have to sacrifice your family in order to have a successful real estate career. And Joe, I can tell you the only way you've been able to do it is because you manage your time like a ninja. You are a ninja time manager. Okay, now let's fast forward a little bit to 2019. So we see here that you time block a lot. You've got all these time blocks here. Tell us how your calendar has changed, going from when you were basically a solo agent doing $3 million a year to now you run a team of 6 agents, and you're doing $75 million, on track to do $75 million. By the way, how many transactions is that for you in Olympia?
I think by the end of the year we'll probably be around 200 or so transactions.
200 transactions. Okay, that's amazing.
It's a lot.
It's a heck of a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially for 6 people. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a lot. But it goes back to talent, right? C3.
I agree,
Joe is a people picker. He knows how to hire talent. All right, tell us about your calendar now. What does it look like, Joe?
So from 2012 to now, it's definitely different. because we didn't have kids back then, right? So that changes the whole dynamic of everything. Wake up time's pretty much the same for me personally. I don't need to set an alarm anymore. I thank my kids for that. They wake us up every morning. So 5 a.m. is still the wake up time. I try to, and it's different obviously every week, but I try to get up even a little bit earlier than them, so I get in my lifesavers from the Miracle Morning book, and so that's just gratitude, that's affirmations, that's goals, exercise, those type of things, see the day off right, with that clarity. So it's usually getting up around 4:30, 5 morning, then around 6 getting them ready for school, dropping them off at 7:30, and then getting to the office. And the prospecting, that still hasn't changed. So that's still really the first priority.
Write that
now,
down.
Especially.
Sorry, I want everybody to write that down. The prospecting hasn't changed. Sorry, Joe, to interrupt. Very important.
Yeah, no, prospecting hasn't changed, and so that's really the prospect and follow-up is really the first thing that I focus on in the morning, because we do our team meeting around 10, 10:30, 10 to 11, depending on what we're going over, what we have coming up. So that sometimes will last for an hour. And then after that, it's typically going back to the prospecting or follow-up or appointments after for me.
Wow, that's that takes the pig-headed discipline. That's but here's the thing. You Joe, you've been willing to sacrifice today and work hard, so that the reward is down the road, is in the future. And right now you've built a business, and I've heard people, if you can subscribe to whatever team model you want to, MREA. There's all kinds of things. You have really built an organization that has a culture, and that culture is one of I'm sure time management. Tell us a little bit about how much time you spend coaching your agents on how to manage their time.
So the coaching aspect, to be honest, that's an everyday thing, all day thing, right? Just because even if I'm on the road or something, Garrett might call me assistance with something, or Mary or Colton or whoever. So, that's just kind of weaved in. Once you've been in the business for a while, you're really able to, just guide your agents through whatever situation they're dealing with in their transactions to get them the best solution. So, the coach really like it just because my whole thing is I love to see other people succeed. I like to be a part in other people's lives. So it's just, for me, it's fun, man. It's fun to see our agents grow, to see them grow like Mary. She's only been with me for 2 years, and, I think personally her production this year, she'll probably do 15 million. So it's exciting, man. So I know different people have different things that excite them, but it's just really just being able to contribute to other people's lives and help them grow.
That's so exciting to hear. You really come from a mindset of contribution, and Joe, that's why it's I'm really excited to have been kind of alongside you for a good bit of this journey, and I'll tell you, again, are a coach's dream client, because first of all, you listen to your coach, and then you implement, and it's the results are there. I think C3 asked me earlier and wanted to ask you a question about, kind of tools and things. What was your question?
Yeah, Joe, just a quick question for you. Hey, what kind of books, resources did you consume to really, develop the time management skill that you have now?
Advocate of Audible, man. Audible is great, especially when you're in our profession, right? We're on the road a long period of time. I would say probably one of the best books for time management, Cliff brought it up a while ago, would be Chet Holmes' Ultimate Sales Machine. Right. I think that really has just the principles, for anybody that's an entrepreneur or has their own business to really pick the nuggets out of that book so you can really kind of execute on your time management. Like, number one, you use once in a day, right? Not going back to things multiple times a day just because that's going to slow down your productivity. Make a daily list, right, of your six priorities in the day. So something else that's really important is to have that daily list, and then also plan how long those tasks are going to take. Right. What I found in the beginning was I always underestimated how long it would take me to do things. So now you kind of overestimate on those things to make sure they're critical and you need to get them done. You have enough time scheduled to get those done. I would say also the biggest thing that I've learned with Joe is prioritizing the difficult tasks at the beginning of the day. I think, of course, human nature for us, right? Humans like to do things that are probably the least easiest resistance. But in this business, the prospect, the follow-up, those are two of the hardest things. And so you need to do it while you have high will and you have high energy. And then probably the last thing I would say is for any big goals that you have, you need to set those deadlines. So you need to have deadlines for things that will key performance indicators in your business.
Like examples, give us examples of key performance indicators. What do you track, Joe?
We track everything from our numbers of calls, of dials to our conversion rates, but kind of a big deadline that we're working on right now, I would say, is our client appreciation event. So we do a thing here for our clients every summer. It's at our minor league baseball park called the Tacoma Rainiers. And so it's a big event. We usually have 100 or so clients come out. And so really putting that all together, there's a lot of moving parts in it. So that's a deadline that we're working on right now.
All right, super. Hey, before we get too far down the road here, I want to ask, would it be possible, can we give our audience, listeners out there and our people viewing the podcast, can we give them a copy of your schedule? Would you let us do that? Can we share that with them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anything you guys want, man, you can have it.
I appreciate that. Joe's an open book. Isn't he awesome? Just amazing. So if you'd like to get a copy of Joe's calendar, all you need to do is go to cliffsnotes.com, and getcliffsnotes.com I think is one as well, but it's Cliff's Notes. Cliff's Notes. Is that right? Travis, help me out here.
Cliff's Notes. There you go.
Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, it's plural.
I couldn't remember if there was a dot in there or not. Getcliffsnotes.com. It was a long week in Orlando. What can I say?
can tell. Hey, it's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. We're all good. And we'll have that for you in the vault. Okay, so we just go down there to unlock it. The other advantage to going and subscribing to our podcast, the website, is you'll get notifications of the web of the podcasts that are coming up, as well as the archives will be there. And you have archives and deliverables and things that we're creating especially for you, the audience. Will be stored there as well, and you get access to all that. We just, that's what we do. That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. Joe, so wow, this is amazing that for some people to fathom the growth rate that you have here, you've essentially doubled your business every year for the last 7 years. That's effectively what you've done. I know there are people out there still going, how in the heck did you do it? Tell us, give us three of the biggest turning points or the biggest decisions that you've had to make along the way so that you could get where you are today.
So I would say probably the top three. The first one is going to be talent. I mean, if you're really trying to grow your business, you need to find talented people to surround you, right? I mean, because you can't do everything in yourself in this business. I mean, if you're a solo agent, you wear hats, from marketing to, to the books to, showing buyers, showing sellers. So really finding that talent to build your team, I would say that's going to be worth its weight in gold. So I would say the first thing. I would say the second thing would be probably building leverage in your business. So leverage from many different places. For me, it comes from things like inside sales agents. It comes from audit systems that we have in place for follow up for new inquiries. So leverage is very big. How we were able to scale our business, and then the third thing would be just putting systems in place in your business. So having the systems in place, so your business has a structure to it, so there's not a lot of guesswork. So your clients are feeling like they're well taken care of, and you receive those referrals.
Okay. I'm going to hit you because I know people in the audience, we hear systems all the time. Give me your top 5 systems.
Top 5 systems, probably, the first one I would say would probably be our lead generation system that we use. So for buyer leads, it would probably be Boomtown. That's what we use. Another system that I use for the ISAs, inside sales agents that we have, would probably be the import. And so that's going to be basically telling me the metrics of how many dials they made, and how many conversations they had, appointments they set. I would say the third system that we would use would be probably like the tracker. That basically is something that we used to use, but now we're at EXP. It tracks all that for us, basically, so you could see your projections, right? Forecasting how much revenue that you have coming in per quarter, per month, measuring your business year over year to kind of see where your growth. Are you lagging, or are you ahead in your business? I would say the fourth system would probably be our auto dialers that we use for prospecting. So Mojo, we use Mojo for prospecting, for sale by owners, expireds. And so using Mojo, since it's an auto line or 3-line, you can just leverage your time. Again, it's about leverage. It's about getting more done in your day. The more options you have, because we are in sales, the more appointments you can set, the more clients you can actually make, because it's a contact sport. It's a numbers game. And I would say probably the system that we use, again, to really help our listing business is Cold Realty Resources. So really big on circle prospecting neighborhoods. And so our agents circle prospect, I circle prospect, our ISA circle prospect, define those new nurtures, what we call them, identifying sellers that are 6 to 12 months out from the decision of selling their home and getting to them before, most agents in our marketplace.
Wow, that's gold right there. That is really gold. Now I'm going to really lay it on you. There's some people out there who are still at that $3 million level who are not going to be ready for all those systems. What would you say are the most important systems for somebody who's just getting started in the business, Joe?
So I would say if it's growing your business, I would say the first thing that you really need to do is you need to find a coach or a mentor. I think that's probably the first step. You really need somebody that's going to hold you accountable, that you grow and think bigger and get you out of your comfort zone. So I know that was it for me. I think, people that are driven and are very successful, we're seekers, right? We're always seeking out people that have the success that we want to achieve. And then we're also modelers, right? We model business to that person that might be mentoring or coaching us.
That's right. You don't have to be the smartest kid in the classroom, just sit next to him. No, I think that was what somebody said one time. Yeah.
I heard somebody say that.
Yeah, we don't believe in cheating, but, it is. Success leaves clues. You certainly can learn. People in real estate think they're blazing a new trail. The reality is it's a beaten path, as we all know, right? Yep. Okay. All right, Joe. Well, we're almost
at the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. We're almost at the bottom of the show here. This has been amazing. So your word of advice here, if I heard you correctly, is when you're getting started in the business, seek help, right? Get some help. Don't try to, do it on your own. Is that? Do you have any other advice that you would give? They're brand new agents and maybe even people in real estate school right now, and we know how high the attrition rate is. What is the one single best piece of advice that you could give somebody who's finishing their pre-licensing classes? Is it getting a coach? What else can you lay on them, man? You got to give them some more nuggets here.
Lay it down for us, Joe.
Lay it down, Joe.
Really, I would say environment, right? Environment for a new agent. Being in the environment is very important because we know environment is stronger than will. So you really need to put yourself in an environment, that is going to help you raise your standards, raise the bar. And so I think that's what it's really also about, especially for new agents. You have to find people that are going to push you. You're going to all be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's the only way that you're going to get the success.
Every time you answer a question, I'm going to have another one here for you, and I know we got to go in just a minute, but this is a big one. Tell me 3 things that a new agent interviewing brokers should find out about their broker. What should they be looking for in a broker?
So I would say probably the top 3 things would be, number 1, training. Do they have a streamlined training system that the new agent can access from anywhere? So it doesn't have to be where they need to come in class or anything like that, but they should have some type of on-demand training that they utilize. I mean, that's something that we utilize on our team all the time for new agents to tap into. I find, unfortunately, a lot of brokerages are still kind of archaic in that sense, where you got to come into the office to get the training, where the training should be available no matter where the agent is. The second I would say would probably be looking, if this is a career that you're looking at, a long-term, looking at the end result. A lot of agents that I know in this business, they get in this big money to make a good income, but they also don't have an exit strategy. So I would say that agents that are new getting into the business, you need to think about your end result. What are you doing this for? How long do you want to do it for, and the goal? And then I would say the third thing would come down to again, finding that coach. Find somebody that is willing to pour into you, and just really give you more knowledge that you need to help be successful in this business.
Wow, man, that's some of the best advice I've ever heard, and it didn't come from me.
Right.
I mean, I love that, Joe. I'll tell you, man, that is, I hope that everybody in the audience, I mean, Joe just dropped it big time and dropped the value down, and I appreciate that, Joe, man. You're such an open and transparent guy. If anybody wanted to get a hold of you down the road, are you gonna make your information available to them? How could somebody wanted to email you a question or talk to you? What's your email address?
Yeah, so I mean, they can reach out to Facebook. It's instant messenger. It's just Joe Symonette is on Facebook, or my email. It's just my name, Joe, and our website URL. So joe@nwhomeexperts.com. That would probably be the easiest reach means through email.
Okay. You're so generous with your time. Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you, these agents on the show today, they're so lucky. It's Joe@NW Experts, right?
Homeexperts.com.
Joe@NWHomeExperts.com. Joe, thank you for being such a kind and generous superstar. Man, you are a model. You are somebody, you'll be in the Real Estate Hall of Fame. I'm just so excited that you were kind enough to join us on the show. Really, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Guys, this gentleman is amazing, and it's a privilege and a pleasure to know him and to partner with him and work with him. So, Joe, thank you for being on board. And again, we just appreciate your generosity here. I do have a kind of a big announcement. I'm gonna go here just for a second and let you guys know in the audience that I have made a commitment, an ambitious commitment, after having sworn that I was content in life. I don't know. I just found like that I want to help more and be a bigger giver. And so I am committing as of today to working with about 25 agents who I have not selected yet, local agents here, who want to help me build a $100 million team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you have any interest in that, if you would like to learn more about that, I would invite you to go to thecliffreemangroup.com. That's thecliffreemangroup.com. And you'll find information there about what we're going to do. I am super stoked, and it's Joe. I got to tell you, it's hanging around people like you that give me the bug, and that desire just to go out and crush it again, man. I mean, you're such a great model, even for me. The wheel goes full circle here. But I'm super excited to announce that. And I would love, if you've ever wanted to really succeed at the highest level in real estate, I want to give you that opportunity today. So you can go directly to my website. Again, that's thecliffreemangroup.com and check it out. Also, Joe, thank you again for offering to give us access to your calendar. That's available at getcliffsnotes.com. Thank you, everybody, for checking that out. And we're going to be back next week. Joe, I will see you soon. I think we're either going to go to Las Vegas in August together or maybe in October for sure. But again, I want to thank you so much for being here today, and I'll look forward to the next time we get to chat. All right?
Yeah, absolutely, for having me on, Cliff. And yeah, I'll either see you in August or October. So.
Sounds great. And if you enjoyed the show, give us a little love. Hit that heart button a bunch of times. Hit that like button. Let us know you like the show. We're doing this just for you, and really hope that we dropped a lot of value. Travis, thank you, my friend, for being here today with us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Always thankful for you. And you guys stay tuned, because we'll be back next week, and we're going to be back right here at the same time and same Facebook Live. You guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you.